Guys, we are going to be talking about one of the most important skill sets you need to have during the entire career search process. Guys, you cannot afford to miss this. Hey guys, it's Brian back at you with another video where my goal is to mentor you to a rewarding career and to help you create a life you're proud of. And in that endeavor, today we are going to explore salary negotiations during the career search process. But before we get into that, please be sure to hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to hit that bell icon. And if you haven't yet, download my free ebook, The Unfair Advantage. This will be very, very helpful for those of you who are on the hunt for a new job or thinking about switching careers. It's a playbook on how to do exactly that. We talk about resumes, interviews, cover letter writing, as well as salary negotiations. So there's a lot more detail in that resource. I definitely highly recommend that you check it out. So if you're enjoying the advice that I'm sharing in today's video, let me know by hitting that thumbs up button. But if you really like it and want to work with me, there are actually two ways you can do that. You can go to my website, 101mentoring.com, hit up my products and services page. I actually have live one-on-one courses. I actually have one specific to salary negotiations, as well as another one on career prep. That's something we can do together one-on-one. We set up like a FaceTime meeting. I go through the presentation with you. It could be me interviewing you. I could review your resume, or we can go a lot more in depth into the salary negotiation process and theory, as well as the strategies. The other way you can work with me is to download the Magnifi app on your iOS device. Sorry, Android users, I don't believe Magnifi is on Android at this moment, but it will be in the future. And essentially, it's like a FaceTime session between you and I, but it's charged at a per minute rate. And this is really good if we have a very specific question. We can tackle that within 15 minutes, 20 minutes, or if you really want to do consulting session, we can go for even longer. But in that case, if it is longer than 30 minutes, I'd really recommend that you check out one of my mentoring sessions on my website. But it is a convenient way to get immediate mentoring advice that you can use in your situation to make decisions on the fly. All right, so let's get to the meat of the topic. When it comes to salary expectations, what are you supposed to do? Where do you start? So at the most basic level, for certain jobs, especially entry-level jobs, sometimes you are asked to fill out an application form, and in that application form, there's a section there that asks you how much you are currently making, and a lot of people feel obligated that they have to fill that out, and I really recommend that you don't fill that out. Just put NA, or you can just leave it blank or leave a note, just say we'll discuss further. Whatever the case, I really don't like putting that number down. A lot of people feel that they have to, and that's obviously not the case. There is no pressure to. There shouldn't be any pressure to. And I don't like it because what happens is it sets the bar as to what they're going to give you in terms of your offer. And I'd rather them come at you with an offer first rather than you telling them how much you make. If possible, do not tell them how much you are currently making. Always ask them to provide the first offer. So rule number one, do not tell them how much you're making, especially in the application forms. Leave those fields blank. If a recruiter outright asks you, just tell them that you defer that type of discussion later in the recruiting process. But let's say the prospective employer is really forcing your hand, and now they're really putting the pressure on and asking you what your salary range is going to be or what you're currently making. Well, if that's the case, you still don't have to answer it straight up. Obviously, you don't want to lie, but what I'd recommend that you do is you tell them a salary range. You don't tell them exactly what you're making. Instead, you give them a range that you're expecting. You've given them the range, and now they're going to negotiate down from that range or negotiate within that range. What's really crucial for you is to know what number within that range are you happy with. Are you happy with $50,000? Are you happy with $52,000? That's so important because that gives you an idea of what is the right dollar range that you need to, or dollar amount that you need to walk away from or accept the offer. If you're saying you're happy with a range between $60,000 and $50,000 and they come back with $55,000, are you taking it, or are you going to leave it and ask for more, or are you going to walk away? What's really important for you is to understand, okay, what are you happy with? And for some people, $55,000 is the right amount of money. Maybe they're happy with that. 52, 60 has to be the number. It doesn't matter. It's a very personal decision based on your experience, based on the value that you bring in, and also based on the competition around you. The thing is here, guys, if you don't have that number in your mind as to what you will accept or not accept, you can't make a decision that you're happy with. So I really encourage you to spend some time to figure out what is the right dollar value for you, and if you meet that dollar value or exceed it, that you will take the offer. So I have one last tip for you guys, and it's a super important one, and that is to also factor in experience over money. When you're talking about salary negotiations, it's so easy to get lost in the salary number itself, but I also want you to factor in the experience you're going to gain in this new role or working in this particular company versus just the dollar amount. Let's say a smaller, no named, unrecognized mom and pop company is going to offer you $5,000 more per year versus another company that has a lot more brand name reputation, marketing. It's got a lot more weight behind the company name that people recognize. On top of that, you're going to learn a lot more. They're going to pressure you a lot more. It's going to be a lot more uncomfortable for you, but you're going to learn so much. And the point here is that it's going to make you a lot more valuable as a candidate 5 to 10 years from now versus working in that small mom and pop's company that nobody knows. So that's something you have to factor in as well, because you really want to earn a lot more in the long term. You might earn $5,000 more today, but if your earning potential jumps by like 10, 20, 30 grand in the next few years, that is going to be way more valuable to you over the lifetime of your career versus that measly $5,000 today. So that's the last thing I want you guys to factor in this whole discussion when you're looking at salary negotiations. You got to factor in what type of company, what skill sets you're going to learn, what kind of experience you're going to get beyond just the dollar value. So those of you that are sticking into the video this late, this is the crucial piece of advice that you cannot ignore. So guys, I'm going to leave it there. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you want to dive deeper into this whole salary negotiation discussion, or if you have a very specific scenario, I know some of you guys do because some of you have reached out to me personally to discuss this. I know some of you are balancing different propositions, different offers from other companies, and if you want to talk about salary negotiations, you can hit me up through the Magnifi app or go to my website 101mentoring.com. I actually have a live one-on-one course on salary negotiations itself, and I give you a lot more perspective from the employer side, from the company side, from those that are hiring, in addition to just strategies and tactics that you would do from your perspective. Guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.